Well, talking about the track is one thing. Right now, let's take a look at the racetrack through the front windshield of Joe Vardy's powerful little Dodge Daytona.
Right, Steve, and Pocono, as you can see, is a large percentage of speedway, and it's a wild racetrack. In fact, set in the Pocono Mountains, it's not unusual for a deer once in a while to appear out on the main straightaway. But as we see the #1 Dodge Daytona of Joe Vardy heading down the long back straightaway, he's going to give us a fine look at this racetrack. Joe Vardy from Tampa, Florida, a former RS Series champion. We won't see him racing here today, but Joe will give us a fine look at what this racetrack is all about. 2.8 miles as we see Joe accelerating out of a very wide pit here at Pocono. A big, wide racetrack and a lot of room for maneuvering, at least on the front straightaway. But as they approach turn one, things tighten up considerably, as Joe observes.
As you come off the front straight, you've got to watch it because it's a high-speed right-hand turn. There's a lot of radius in that turn, and you need to set up just right for that because you're coming off at a high rate of speed. Then you're going to the hairpin turn. The hairpin turn, you'd like to slow it down, so because it's off camber, you want to slow it down as fast as you can and go in as deep as you can. Come out with a nice exit speed.
Now Joe is sliding through the narrow, twisty infield, heading toward turn 3.
You've got to go from the outside to the inside, drop a wheel off into the grass, and then exit all the way across to the other side of the turn. Okay, now we're going down the back chute, and we're going into another 180-degree turn, which heads back toward the banking. We take a left-hand turn from the outside of the track, drop the wheel off on the inside, and slide to the outside. We're going into this turn. We're exiting. We're putting it up against the guardrail as close to the wall as possible. Now we want to make sure our steering wheel is straight as possible so we can get the most forward speed that we can.
On this part of the Pocono racetrack, things widen out considerably, and the faster GTP cars will knock on 190 miles an hour as we see Joe Vardy out on a long, open straightaway, heading down toward turn 7, where things get considerably more difficult.
You set the car in, and when you're going through the radius of that high-speed turn, the back end will start coming out a little bit. That determines on how much throttle you want to give the car to keep the back end in line. Okay, as you're exiting this turn, you want to lay in the gas pedal as hard as you can, put it up against the wall because that's where the dead air is, and that's where you want to be, and that's where you have the most speed, and we're heading toward the start-finish line.
There you have it, one lap at Pocono, and our thanks to Joe Vardy for the tour of this 2.8-mile racetrack. Steve?